Hi everyone, this is Nick Wojton, your sports reporter at the Palladium Times newspaper, and I'm alongside Coach Ed Gosek of the Oswego State men's hockey team again, with a couple questions for him. Coach, just starting off, the SUNY Oswego Athlete of the Week was actually named 3 guys from your team this week. They named it your second line, but I'm sure as a coach you'd probably say it's your line 1A or 1B. You know, they very well last weekend. They had 21 points, and part of that line, Mick Shirley, Sean Holshoff, Mike Montagna. Hurley was actually named the SUNY Rookie of the Week too. Talk about their weekend. Like I said, 21 points. Okay games, I guess. 21 points. So
pretty impressive. Now, to say that same things that we've been talking about. I think there's some chemistry, or there's been chemistry, but the chemistry is starting to develop into a point where I think they're getting comfortable knowing where each other are on the ice. Their defensive responsibility, I think now it's coming more naturally. They're not, before maybe analyzed where everyone was, their line mates, and now I think there's some tendencies there. So it's usually, a defensive zone. Hurley, he's back as F1, or Montagna, and one of them's back as F2. Holshoff's usually F3, back into our own zone. And that leads to our transition into the other team's end. And Montagna, Mike, very patient with the puck. Feeds either Holshoff or Hurley for some nice passes, and then they're getting some grade A opportunities. They've also been good down low off of the cycle, controlling the puck below the goal line up through the half wall area, making some nice plays and reads, and getting a step on guys to be able to make that pass. So it's a lot of points in a weekend, and I'll give our sports information credit. It would have really been difficult to name just one. So I think giving all 3 for us, that helps also from a simple standpoint of that. At this time of year, it's all about team. It's all about individual statistics aside, what's best for the team. So I think that goes along with what we're saying and what we're preaching, and so for them to give it to all 3 of them, I think just further develops what it is that we're preaching.
Hey Coach, this weekend you guys have Brockport and Geneseo. Interesting games, probably more interesting than usual, because last time you guys played them was kind of when you guys were in a little bit of a rut. I'd say you win less than 3 games, and 2 of them were against those 2 teams. If you could just start with Brockport, you guys tied them 4-4. They're in 5th place in the SUNYAC right now, so they're battling there for some playoff positioning. Talk about them and their style.
Well, it starts with their goaltending. Both Green and Lockhurst are very good. Seems like lately every game we've played them, they've made some outstanding saves, including our last time here. We really, that game was the start of, as you said, a 3-game slide, but we really played pretty well that game. We just did not finish, and that's going to happen, so we didn't want to read too much into it. It was a little disappointing because the following day we were heading into the Carrier Dome. So that whole sequence of games was really just a little bit out of the ordinary, and it was unfortunately a difficult time in which we had some injuries. We had some guys that weren't playing well, and I think a lot of distractions, which are good because it helps prepare you as the season goes on. But Brockport, we know, in their building will be, they're fighting like we are for every point they can get. We tied here the last time, and I think it'll be a good test for us to see how far we've come along, and to see if we can continue with solid 2-way hockey.
And of course, after that, you have Geneseo. You guys lost to them last time, actually. I thought that was more of a case of, I know you said a couple times you guys have run into a pretty hot goalie. I thought their goalie played great that night. Can you guys have an injury or 2 as well? Not to make excuses, I'm sure you will not do that either. Probably thought you guys should have got the W, but again, a number 3 team in the SUNYAC, another team fighting for playoff positioning. Talk about Geneseo in the game they like to play.
Well, they've been up and down, as their record indicates, but I think lately, they get a good win at Plattsburgh, and then they beat their crosstown rival there, Brockport, last weekend. I think they're feeling better about themselves. They've got Cortland on Friday. Probably gain some momentum there. And then Saturday's a big night for them as they're honoring their first coach and only other coach, leading up to the Hills in Schultz. And so, special ceremony Saturday night to honor Paul, and deservedly so. So I think they'll be ready to compete. Us going back there after last year's SUNY championship game, and I'm sure that's weighing on them. Our guys, hopefully our focus is just on ourselves, and we want to continue to improve, as we've been saying all along here, playing our best hockey at the end of the year. But they're certainly one of the most skilled teams in the SUNYAC. They've got very good goaltending. They won the league for a reason last year, and didn't graduate much. And hopefully they're not playing their best hockey this time of year. We can't control that, so what's important to us again is just how we play and how we can compete. And again, it'll be a good test for us. I'm sure they'll expose some of our weaknesses that we can address and work on during the week leading up in this final stretch run.
And Coach, we talked about before the camera was on that this is the 35th anniversary month of the Miracle on Ice. I'm sure you're familiar with that. You might have heard of that before. I was wondering, just for a lighter question, what's maybe an upset story that you guys were an underdog in that you can, I guess, I don't want to say relate to the Miracle on Ice because it's not exactly maybe the most historical win compared to that, but just an upset victory you guys have had during your tenure here, big upsets.
Well, first off, I'd say, since I was fortunate enough to be there in 1980,
okay.
Thanks to my dad, who thought it was a good idea to go away for a year and experience the Olympics and go to school up in Lake Placid,
Wow.
Saranac Lake, and then being fortunate enough to drive Bob Kane, who was at the time the athletic director of Cornell, but he was also president of the USOC. So I was fortunate enough to drive him and his wife around in 1980 during actually it was close to 4 weeks, a week before the Olympics, 2 weeks during, and a little bit afterwards, and they took me to all the events. So being able to see that game and the gold medal game, pretty special memories for me.
Part of history.
Yeah, so for myself with the Lakers here, I'd probably say, the whole stretch of the year we won the national championship. We were underdogs, even though we were home going in against Norwich. We were underdogs against St. Norbert. We were underdogs against Middlebury. So those 3 games, I guess, just because they were all, back to back, would stand out in my mind. And I think our guys took that attitude of, the underdog role. And, we had a lot of adversity at the time also on the team, with some players not being able to be in the lineup that were. So it would have been very easy to just, I'll say give up, but expect to lose.
Sure.
And it was the opposite. So those would be my my memories here, I guess, where we were the underdog.